Super duper doo, how are you? Red makes you go faster. So I'm wearing red because I want to go faster. Now that's just silliness, isn't it? However, have you heard that? And is it true that if you wear red or you have a red car, it will go faster? Probably not. Have you heard that carbohydrate makes you fat? Have you heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day? Have you heard that you should do 10,000 steps? Have you heard that you should drink 8 glasses of water? There's so much stuff that we repeat, that we're bombarded with every day, that we probably believe, even if we don't know where the information came from or whether or not it's true. Now, if you add to that social media, influencers, if you add to that Google, where we all go for, well, I'm going to Google something, it must be true, is it possible that we could get lied to? Is it possible that a lot of the stuff that we hear is not true? And how do we know? I get bombarded every day with people sending me stuff off social media, and I'm sure that you do too. So it's either stuff that they've produced themselves or they think is really cool and they want to share it with me. Now, whether that's a conspiracy theory about what's going on in the world, or a new way to eat, or a new way to exercise, or a new skincare product, or a new way to look after your money, there's always something that people send to me. The interesting thing about the stuff that comes to me personally about the human body, and we laugh about it at this house quite a lot, I just go, oh, bullshit. I say that a lot. And the reason I share that, I'm a very open-minded person. I'm always open to learning. I'm always wanting to learn. But one of the things that I always filter everything with, that I run everything through when it comes to eating or exercise, is the fundamentals of the human body. So how does the human body work? Anatomy, physiology, the body systems. And if whatever's been sent to me goes against any of that, and I'm not talking about opinions about the human body, I'm just talking about the fundamentals of anatomy and physiology that nobody argues with. So if somebody says to me that they can work intensely for 7 minutes, that's just not true. The energy systems of the human body don't work that way. If somebody sends me a new exercise and it puts shearing forces through a joint, it's not a safe exercise, so I'm not going to do it because it's going to hurt my joint. And that's all I'm asking for parents, teachers, coaches, bosses, leaders, anybody that gives out information to the rest of the world. Before we speak, before we preach, before we teach, before we tell, could it be a really good idea to run everything through whatever filter you need to have? Now, mine has to be anatomy and physiology because that's what I do. I also have a big filter for business because I've been involved with literally probably hundreds and thousands of businesses since I've been an adult. And there are things that work in business and there are things that don't. It's called the basics, the fundamentals. I love that quote. If you never get away from the basics, you never have to go back to basics. There's some things in business that are just fundamentals and they work. And if people go against them and wonder why their business isn't successful, it's kind of crazy. So do you have a filter? If you're going to produce information out of your human being, so whether you write it or you email it or you text it or you resend it, so it's a post, somebody else's post on social media or it's from Google, do you actually know that it's true? Now, you might not care, it's just of interest, so you send it. But if we want to have a reputation of somebody who knows what they're talking about, if we want the reputation of, or if you want to be respected, could it be a good idea to make sure that everything that you send is true? So I have a simple process when it comes to exercise and eating. The first one, of course, is if it's said to me and somebody thinks I should do it, I always ask 2 questions. Why would I do that and how does it work? Why would I do that and how does it actually work? And what that does, of course, it sets my brain into motion. My own brain will come up with the answer because I'm constantly learning, constantly educating and training when it comes to anatomy and physiology. So once you feed something into your brain, it's more likely to give it back to you. So that's kind of cool. So why would I do that and how does it work? And then some very simple questions, and I use the Smarties principle. Is that something I could stick to for the rest of my life? Is it in moderation? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? Is it time efficient? Is it interesting? Is it enjoyable? Is it based on common sense? I'm very hesitant about science now because the only science that I'm really interested in is anatomy and physiology, because so much science, you can skew the science to suit your opinion. It's very easy to do that. So the Smarties principle works really well. So if you get bombarded with an eating or exercise plan, that might be very helpful for you too. Smarties, something I can stick to for the rest of my life. Is it in moderation? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? Is it time efficient, interesting, enjoyable? Is it based on common sense? Then if you want to just go, even without understanding anatomy and physiology, there's a couple of questions, or half a dozen questions probably, to ask about an exercise or an eating plan. The first one is really simple: is it safe? Some exercises you can just look at them and you just go, nah, it's not safe. And the reason I use that one first is if it hurts you, if you get injured by doing an eating or exercise plan, you can't do anything else. If you feel sick from a silly eating plan, or you don't have any energy from a silly eating plan, you can't do anything else. If you get injured from an exercise plan, if it does something that makes your body unhealthy or makes it work at less than 100% effort, then you can't do anything else. So is it safe? And you might not know, because sometimes information's delivered with such enthusiasm and passion. And I'll use that as an example. I often, when I open up a YouTube clip or something that somebody sends me from social media, it's interesting because sometimes half of it's true. But I always ask the question, I can analyse it from an anatomical and physiological point of view, but most people can't. So it makes sense because half of it's true, which I think is even worse, because if it sounds completely silly, if it's complete BS, then you're unlikely to do it. But if it kind of makes sense, then it makes me nervous, because I think, well, people are going to do that. It's like the joke about marketing your business. 50% of my marketing's working, I just don't know which 50%. I don't want that to be exercise and eating for people. 50% of it's working, I just don't know which 50%. And the only way, again, that you can analyse it is half of it true, is it 3/4 true, is it all true, is if you know your anatomy and physiology. But most things you can still look at them and say, is it safe? The next one is it functional? And there's two parts to functional. One, it's got to function inside your life, of course. So if it's not going to suit your life, then why would you do it? But functional meaning, is that how the human body works? Now, there's lots of crazy exercises and lots of crazy eating plans, but is that actually how the human body works? And again, you might not know your anatomy and physiology, but there's a great question. Would it be a good idea, this beautiful body that you live in, you're going to live in it for the rest of your life, would it be a really good idea to learn the fundamentals of what the body systems are? I always ask, find out, what are the 4 macronutrients, which is the energy to fuel the machine? What are the energy systems of the body that make the body go? Muscles and bones, you maybe not learn all of them, but what happens at the joints, for example, if I've got compression forces or traction forces through a joint, that's a normal movement and the body's meant to do that. But if I've got shearing forces, grinding forces at momentum with weight, I'm going to get injured. So wouldn't it be a really good idea to be able to analyse an exercise from a safety point of view, from a functional point of view? Is that what the human body actually does? A more important question than all of those, except that I think safety is really important, is what do I want to get from the exercise? What do I want to get from the eating plan? Is it going to give me the result that I want? And if the answer at the start is no, why would you bother? If the answer is maybe, I'm not sure I'd want to take the risk. Now, of course, you can do whatever you want to, but if you're not sure, what if it doesn't work? What if it hurts you? What if it makes you sick? What if it drains your energy? What if it hurts your joints? They're all those questions. So what result do you want to get? Is there a better way to get that result? So yes, I could do, for example, if I do bicep curls, I'm going to use my bicep, there's no doubt about that. But is there a better way, if I want to have strong arms, is there a better way to get strong arms than doing an isolated exercise which puts shearing forces across my joint? And I always ask the question, is it possible that little exercises give little results? What's a bigger exercise that can give me a bigger result? So yes, that exercise or eating plan, if you go on a calorie-controlled diet, you're going to lose weight. But is it going to give you a stack of energy? Is it going to make you feel good? Is it going to give you the results that you want in a short period of time? And is it safe? So there's just simple questions to ask rather than just believe. So is it safe? Is it functional? Is it going to give me the result that I want? What result do I actually want to get? Is there a better way to get that result in a shorter period of time? And overall, is it going to fit into my lifestyle? So again, it might be an eating plan that's going to work for an elite athlete because they don't do anything else with their life except play their sport. There might be an exercise program that somebody that is totally focused on that particular activity can do every single day, but can you do it every single day? Is it going to fit into your lifestyle? I don't want to set people up to fail. How about you? Now, failure means that you give up, and a lot of the exercise and eating plans that don't hurt people and don't make people sick is, I think, just by luck, because they don't stick to them, because they just don't fit into their lifestyle. And the most important question for me here is, What about your time? Why would you want to waste your time? We all have 168 hours in our week and we all have 52 weeks in the year, but what we don't know is how many more days we're going to get, how many more hours we're going to get, how many more years we're going to get. And I would hate to waste time doing an exercise plan, an eating plan, a career path, a financial plan, anything in my life that's going to waste my time, because I can't get time back, and guess what, neither can you. It's the thing that we have in common. So why would we want to waste our time on something that doesn't work, or there's something that could work in a shorter period of time in a better way? So whatever people throw at you, whatever information, could it be a really good idea? And the simple questions are, why would I do it and how does it work? And if you don't know how it works, obviously that's what the Max International Colleges is all about. There's four big parts to life. How do I get healthy, fit and strong and stay that way for the rest of my life? How do I have a career or business that I love so I wake up every day loving my life? How do I make sure that I'm financially free so I don't have to struggle for money? And how do I have great people in my life so I don't have, or I can handle gossips and critics and negative people and horrible people? I don't want to have them in my life, but wouldn't it be great to have the skills to be able to handle them? So that's what the Max International Colleges is all about. That's what Romax is about every day. That's why I'm here every day. And if I don't have an answer, and I certainly don't have all the answers, I'm just learning and educating and training every day. I surround myself with great education and people who are studying specific areas. So I have access to endocrinologists, cardiologists, psychologists, orthopedic surgeons, sports-specific experts, and of course, K-Man, my gorgeous husband, has a master's degree in exercise science, but also one of the smartest people I know when it comes to anatomy and physiology. And the beautiful thing is, and I'm going to share it again, is it possible that if you know your anatomy and physiology, you know how the human body works, that you can analyse any eating plan or exercise plan for yourself? So those questions, what are the 4 macronutrients? How do they work in the body? How do the body systems work? How do my muscles and bones work? How does my body function on a day-to-day basis so I can live my life to the max? And that's my driving force every day. So whatever you do, as a coach, a parent, a teacher, a boss, a leader, what are you learning every day to make sure that the information that comes out of your mouth that you deliver to the rest of the world is exactly, you know that it's true, you're not just repeating somebody else's opinion. And that's one of the things that I'm always really, I never want to be that person, because I used to do it a long time ago when I was impressed by everybody's impressiveness and I didn't know my anatomy and physiology. I just regurgitated other people's opinion. I don't want to be the expert in somebody else's opinion and not know what I'm talking about. How about you? So could it be a really good idea to learn, train, educate, and keep learning and training and educating? And that's the big part of being successful at anything. Do what you're passionate about, keep getting better at it, add massive value to other people's lives. And of course, what a great way to live. I call it the sweet spot. And if you think that red makes you go faster, then wear red, because often when you think it's going to work for you, that's probably an interesting thing to take note of. I feel better when I wear red, so I'm going to wear red. But does it mean that everybody else is going to feel better because they wear red, or is it that just a personal opinion of yours? And that's the difference between opinion and fact. Is it true that red makes you go faster, or is it just something that makes you feel good? Great questions to ask so you can live your life to the max. Because I'd love you to be happy and healthy. I feel good, no, I knew that I would now, no, because I'm learning every single day. Woohoo!